she stepped onto the set of a music video wearing a simple black dress, and within moments, the king of pop brought everything to a halt, declaring that she was the woman he wanted. That single moment changed Tatiana Thumbtzen's life forever, taking her from an aspiring performer to sharing the spotlight with the biggest music icon in the world. Then one unforgettable kiss altered the course of everything. For decades, fans have wondered what really happened between Michael Jackson and Tatiana Thumbtzen after that famous night at Madison Square Garden. The truth is much more complex than the stories the tabloids ever told. Stay with us until the very end, because the complete story may not be what you expect. From ballet student to the world's biggest pop stage, long before people associated Tatiana Thumbtzen with Michael Jackson, she had already built her life around dedication to the performing arts. Born in Clearwater, Florida, Tatiana comes from a mixed heritage that includes Black, Cherokee Indian, and Anglo-Cuban roots, while her Irish last name came from her adoptive father. Her childhood revolved around discipline, movement, and artistic training, years before she entered the entertainment business. Her love of dance began early. At just 8 years old, she started studying ballet, and by the age of 13, she had earned a scholarship to the prestigious School of American Ballet in New York City. Such an opportunity, at a young age, reflected her determination and commitment, long before fame became part of her journey. Training at one of the country's leading ballet institutions demanded intense discipline, helping her develop not only technical ability, but also the resilience needed to succeed in a competitive field. In a later interview, Tatiana explained that her dance background eventually opened the door to a modeling contract. At 19, she moved to Japan, where she spent the next 5 years establishing herself as a professional model. After returning to New York, Thumbtzen appeared in the Harry Belafonte-produced film Beat Street. Toward the end of 1986, she relocated to Los Angeles to pursue commercial work and print modeling. That decision proved to be a major turning point, placing her in the middle of an entertainment industry constantly searching for fresh talent. What many people don't know is that Tatiana actually encountered Michael Jackson years before she ever auditioned for one of his projects. In 1984, while walking through New York City on her way to a casting audition, she unexpectedly spotted Jackson by himself, casually dressed in a white shirt and baseball cap. She later admitted that she wanted to approach him and start a conversation, but simply couldn't think of the right words. Instead, she quietly followed him for nearly 5 city blocks before realizing she was about to miss her own audition. That moment says a great deal about Michael Jackson's extraordinary presence. Even though she was a trained professional heading to an important opportunity, she found herself completely captivated and unable to speak. When the audition that would change her career finally arrived, she had no idea whose project she was trying out for. In 1987, she attended a casting call for a music video without being told the artist's identity. During the audition, her character walked down a street while being harassed by a group of men. Her performance immediately caught the attention of Michael Jackson's team, earning her an invitation to the dress rehearsal. Reports suggest that more than 200 women competed for the same role. According to one of the video's writers, after watching Tatiana's audition tape, Michael Jackson made his decision instantly. His reported response was simple: she was the one, and everyone else were merely extras. A comment like that has the power to change someone's future in a single moment. That audition ultimately led Tatiana Thumbtzen to become the leading lady in Michael Jackson's iconic music video, For the Way You Make Me Feel. The music video, directed by Joe Pytka, was filmed in June 1987 and featured choreography created by Michael Jackson alongside Vincent Patterson. Many of the dance sequences drew inspiration from the classic 1961 film West Side Story. The storyline placed Tatiana at the heart of the narrative as a woman being pursued through city streets, and the connection audiences saw between her and Jackson felt remarkably authentic. According to Tatiana, that natural chemistry reflected genuine emotions that developed during filming. Thumbtzen has said that Michael Jackson openly flirted with her throughout the production. Originally, the video's final scene was supposed to end with her kissing him. However, The director reportedly decided against it because Jackson was too shy to perform the kiss on camera. Instead, the scene concluded with the two embracing. That seemingly small change reveals a great deal about their relationship at the time. From the beginning, there were clear boundaries along with Michael's well-known shyness. At the same time, there appeared to be a warmth between them that extended beyond ordinary professional interaction. When The Way You Make Me Feel was released on October 31st, 1987 as the third single from the Bad album, it quickly became one of the era's defining music videos. Almost overnight, Tatiana Thumbtzen became a familiar face to millions of viewers, even if many people never learned her name. The tour, the kiss, and the moment that changed everything. Now that we've seen how Tatiana entered Michael Jackson's world, the story reaches the chapter that most fans believe they already know. Yet, many people only know pieces of what happened. The events leading up to the famous kiss are just as important as the kiss itself, and they are rarely told in their proper sequence. In January 1988, Tatiana visited Michael while he was filming the music video for Leave Me Alone. He was happy to see her, and the two later took part in a photo session together. Not long afterward, she joined him on stage during multiple performances of The Way You Make Me Feel throughout the Bad World Tour. Traveling together gave them far more opportunities to get to know each other. Being chosen for the Bad World Tour was a remarkable achievement. At the time, it was the biggest solo concert tour ever staged, and Michael Jackson was at the height of his worldwide popularity. On March 2nd, 1988, Tatiana appeared alongside Jackson during his performance of The Way You Make Me Feel at the Grammy Awards. Held at Radio City Music Hall in New York, the ceremony featured Michael performing 2 songs, with Tatiana joining him for the opening number. By then, members of the Jackson family had reportedly grown very fond of her, with some even affectionately referring to her as Tatiana Jackson. The following day, March 3rd, 1988, Michael performed a benefit concert at Madison Square Garden in support of the United Negro College Fund. The audience included an impressive list of celebrities, among them Brooke Shields, Quincy Jones, Prince, Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder, Madonna, New York City's mayor, and numerous members of the Jackson family. Even before the show began, it was already shaping up to be an unforgettable evening, and Tatiana found herself at the center of it all. Because she and Michael rarely had time alone during the tour, Tatiana decided to surprise him by kissing him on the cheek during that first concert. According to her, the dancers later told her that the gesture had completely made Michael's day. She recalled hearing him giggle throughout the performance as he continued singing. His cheerful reaction gave her the confidence to take things one step further. Before the following night's performance, she called Michael and asked whether he would be comfortable if she made the kiss more romantic. During the concert, she kissed him on the lips. According to Tatiana's own recollections in later interviews, the moment unfolded before thousands of audience members, instantly becoming one of the most talked about moments of the tour. The audience erupted the moment it happened. Tatiana later recalled walking onto the stage with her heart racing, spending the last few seconds wondering whether she should actually go through with the kiss. As she approached Michael and wrapped her hands around the collar of his jacket, he looked directly into her eyes. She placed one arm around his waist, leaned in, and kissed him. The surge of adrenaline was so overwhelming that she nearly lost her balance and fell off the stage. The excitement on stage was followed by a very different atmosphere backstage. Michael's manager, Frank DiLeo, walked past her after the performance. After previous shows, he would usually pat her on the shoulder and compliment her performance. This time, however, he said nothing. Instead, Tatiana remembered him giving her what she described as the coldest and most intimidating look she had ever received. Soon afterward, Miko Brando, the son of actor Marlon Brando and one of Michael Jackson's close friends, approached her backstage with obvious anger. According to Tatiana, he had no idea that she and Michael had privately discussed the kiss before it happened. Tatiana has consistently maintained that the kiss was not spontaneous. She says she and Michael had agreed to it beforehand and that no one else knew about their conversation. In her view, That secrecy fueled resentment among some people around Michael. Because there was no one else who could confirm what had been agreed upon, the misunderstanding only grew larger. That lack of communication would eventually become the turning point that changed her relationship with Jackson forever. Fired without an explanation, and the career that changed forever. The most heartbreaking part of this story came after the headlines faded. To understand what Tatiana truly lost, it's important to look beyond the famous kiss and examine the lasting impact her dismissal had on both her career and her personal life. Following an appearance on a television talk show where she was asked about her relationship with Michael and responded carefully, Frank Dilio reportedly decided to remove her from Jackson's team. Tatiana says she never had another opportunity to speak with Michael afterward. There was no personal explanation, no final conversation, and no phone call from him. Instead, she was simply informed that she had been replaced. After the kissing incident, she was dismissed from the Bad World Tour, and singer Sheryl Crow eventually stepped into the role, beginning with the July 15, 1988 performance at Wembley Stadium in London. For someone who had stood beside the world's biggest entertainer at the Grammy Awards only weeks earlier, the change was sudden and painful. Tatiana later admitted that she went home and cried deeply, not only because she had lost an extraordinary career opportunity, but because she also felt she had lost Michael himself. Michael's mother, Katherine Jackson, reportedly struggled to understand why things had unfolded that way. She continued inviting Tatiana to the Jackson family home in Encino on several occasions, where the two spent time talking at length. Katherine's decision to remain in contact suggests that Tatiana's dismissal was not necessarily supported by everyone in Michael's family. It also indicates that some of those closest to him may have questioned the decisions made behind the scenes. The controversy continued to affect Tatiana's professional life for years afterward. Many casting directors primarily recognized her as the woman from Michael Jackson's music video, making it difficult for them to see her in different roles. She has also said that she believed she was not fairly compensated for the work she had done. As time passed, financial struggles added to the challenges she was already facing. It became an example of how public recognition can sometimes become a burden. The connection that made Tatiana instantly recognizable also made it harder for audiences and industry professionals to separate her from that single chapter of her life. Wherever she went professionally, her association with Michael Jackson seemed to follow her. Hoping to rebuild her career, Tatiana later turned to Michael's father, Joseph Jackson. After she left the tour, Joseph expressed interest in managing her career and offered her a management contract. Like Katherine Jackson, he reportedly sympathized with what she had experienced and believed she had been treated unfairly. Over time, however, Tatiana came to believe that the arrangement was not helping her career as she had hoped. She eventually suspected that remaining under Joseph's management was limiting her opportunities instead of creating new ones. Throughout those difficult years, she continued making several attempts to reconnect with Michael Jackson directly, hoping to speak with him once again. According to Tatiana's memoir, there were several occasions at public appearances when she spotted Michael Jackson and tried to speak with him. Each time, however, something or someone intervened before they could have a meaningful conversation. She also described hearing backstage walkie-talkie messages indicating that Michael did not want to meet or speak with her during certain events. Whether those instructions came directly from Michael or from people responsible for managing his schedule was something she never had the opportunity to ask him. That unanswered question stayed with her for many years. Tatiana later appeared on The Tonight Show with Ross Schaefer. When asked whether she and Michael had been romantically involved, she answered that their relationship had been strictly professional. Considering everything she says she was experiencing privately, that careful public response reflects how determined she was to avoid fueling speculation, even while her own life was becoming increasingly difficult. What her legacy looks like today, after years marked by unanswered questions and emotional turmoil, the way Tatiana ultimately chose to tell her story offers insight into how she came to understand her experiences and what she hoped others would take away from them, both about Michael Jackson and about herself. In her writing, Tatiana revealed that learning she had been replaced on the bad world tour sent her into a deep depression. She described the long emotional struggle, saying she cried frequently and intensely. Constant questions from others about why someone else had taken her place became overwhelming. She wrote that over time, she reached a point where she disliked leaving her home and even felt that she no longer wanted to live. That level of emotional pain illustrates how closely her identity had become connected to that period of her life. The sudden loss of both the opportunity and the relationship, without any clear explanation, left a lasting impact that took years to work through. When Michael Jackson faced the first allegations of sexual misconduct in 1993, Tatiana found herself in a difficult public position. She appeared on several television and radio programs, including The Howard Stern Show, where she claimed that she and Michael had shared a romantic relationship for approximately 18 months. Years later, however, she acknowledged in her memoir that those statements were not completely accurate. That admission brought considerable criticism from some members of the public. Even so, her overall view of Michael's character remained consistent, despite acknowledging that some of her earlier claims had been exaggerated. In 2004, Tatiana published her memoir, The Way He Made Me Feel, co-written with Tony Orion. The book explored her life in Hollywood, her encounters with well-known celebrities, her role in The Way You Make Me Feel music video, and her experience as the first woman to publicly kiss Michael Jackson during a performance. Rather than offering simple answers, the memoir reflected the perspective of someone who had spent years trying to make sense of an experience that never reached a clear or satisfying conclusion. Readers responded in different ways. Some expressed sympathy for her story, while others pointed to inconsistencies between various accounts she had shared over the years. At the same time, many appreciated her willingness to openly discuss her complicated emotions and acknowledge her own mistakes. In 2011, she released a second book, Michael and Tatiana, The King of My Heart, continuing the story where her first memoir had ended. During interviews promoting the book, Tatiana spoke with a calmer, more reflective tone than she had years earlier. By then, she seemed to have found greater peace with the loss of Michael, the career she had hoped would grow after the music video, and the fact that she never received the personal explanation she had long wished for. Following Michael Jackson's death in June 2009, Tatiana met with his longtime manager, Frank Dilio. Before Dilio passed away in 2011, the two reconciled and put their differences behind them. That quiet reconciliation carried significant emotional weight. Although it could not erase the past, it finally brought closure to a chapter that had remained unresolved for more than 20 years. Tatiana also attended Michael Jackson's funeral service on September 3, 2009, at Forest Lawn Memorial Park. She was invited by Katherine Jackson, who had maintained contact with her over the years. That invitation represented more than simple kindness. It acknowledged that Tatiana had been an important part of Michael's life during a significant period, even if the circumstances surrounding her departure from his world had never been fully understood or explained. Although her acting career never reached the level many expected after the success of the music video, she continued working steadily. Her credits include The Perfect Model 1988, Identity Crisis 1989, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air 1990, and an appearance in the opening credits of the television series A Different World. Those projects demonstrate that her career continued moving forward, even as many people in the entertainment industry continued to define her primarily through her association with Michael Jackson. She remained active, continued performing, and kept building a life beyond the chapter that had ended so unexpectedly. Looking at Tatiana Thumbtzen in 2026, at the age of 65, what stands out most is her determination to ensure that her side of the story